everyone, welcome to Science Lab. The signs are happening because Lord Jesus is coming. Every day we are looking at some of the great signs that are happening around us.
And in this episode, we are going to see some of the strange signs that are taking place in the sky.
If you believe what you see in science fiction films, then you probably believe that in space you can easily hear, for example, the sound of some kind of explosion. Though for now, I suggest forgetting the fantasies of scriptwriters and directors and turning to scientific facts, because these are much more fascinating than any fabrication.
Space has amused people from the very moment our ancestors gazed at the sky and realized it looked like something magical. They began wondering what was happening up there above it all. People suddenly had questions, and to answer them, they had to come up with myths, fairy tales about gods and heroes that in general could explain everything.
Over time, myth faded into the background and people began building theories about the structures of the cosmos. Today, we know space isn't some kind of solid dome. We know its temperature and various properties, as we even understand what would happen if we tried touching it with our bare hands. But what about sound? First of all, let's define some terms and concepts. Sound is the propagation of elastic waves of mechanical vibration in a solid, liquid or gaseous medium. These waves, like any other, have amplitude and frequency. However, space is neither solid nor liquid nor gaseous. There aren't enough molecules in airless space to vibrate and create an audible sound. There are so few particles that even the loudest sounds, like explosions of entire planets, die out almost instantly. Does that mean that the silence reigns in space? Sound waves in a vacuum don't really propagate. However, there are electromagnetic waves that freely move through space in any direction. So to hear other planets and stars, you did only need to catch the radiation of the object you are interested in and as it were converted into sound through a speaker or headphones. And it's easier than it seems at first glance. For the first time ever, the sound of space were recorded as a part of Voyager program. It was this spacecraft that finally allowed humanity not only to see the cosmos but also to hear it. Today, NASA has many cosmic sounds at its disposal. Sound waves just weird, while the other are really creepy. These sounds of lightning on Jupiter were recorded by Voyager 1, or rather it recorded electromagnetic waves, after which they were transformed into a strange short track. It sounds like hissing coming from some shell recorded with a really bad voice recorder. In Jupiter's atmosphere, where storms often occur and the winds blow at an almost unrealistic speed, you can also see lightning. The sound it made was also called a whistler, as it sounds so much like a whistle. So that's how an uninhabited planet sounds. But here on Earth, of course, everything should be different, right? Well, there are about 8 billion people on our planet. We are just people, but we create a lot of noise. There are also animals and birds, and also sound of the river, seas and oceans. It seems to us that the Earth should be the loudest planet in our solar system, but in fact its sounds are not at all what we thought. Craig A. Ketzing used a tool called EMF-ISIS for many years to study different kinds of electromagnetic waves in near-Earth space. The scientist was particularly interested in the so-called Van Allen belts. That is, the Earth's radiation belts. People don't notice the activity in these areas and never hear what's happening. But if you convert the radio wave into audio format, you can hear something strange. For example, some of these waves sound like a chorus of alien birds. other sounds like the lightsaber in the Star Wars. However, this isn't the only case in which scientists have managed to capture the cosmic voice of the Earth. A satellite launched by NASA's Apollo missions made these recordings. Which sounds something like panting. And these aren't even all of the sounds that the Earth makes. Scientists have discovered that the magnetopoles, the outmost boundary of the Earth's protective magnetic field, collides with a stream of solar plasma. It vibrates. And this also sounds quite strange. And now we'll leave our planet and again turn to space. But this time we'll turn to an image the Hubble Space Telescope captured in 2018. Because of the huge number of galaxies in its frame, researchers call this photo the Galactic Treasure Chest. Each of the galaxy spots on it is home to countless stars. Could such a picture be made even more amazing? Yes, they can make it sing. NASA decided to turn the image into music. Each point in the image makes its own sound. Stars and small galaxies respond with short notes, and the large spiral galaxies produce longer and more complex sounds. This tone also depends on the location. The lower they are, rougher the note sounds. They result in an airy and slightly disturbing cosmic tune. On January 14, 2005, the Huygens probe landed on Saturn's moon Titan. Titan, unlike many of other celestial bodies, has an atmosphere. Sound waves propagated there. When the device landed there, it recorded sounds through a microphone, transmitted them to an antenna which remained in orbit. And from there, they were sent to the Earth. So now we can hear what Titan sounds like. Like an old and somewhat frozen 8-bit game. Not the nicest sound in the universe. Some cosmic tunes somewhere sound really frightening. The spacecraft Juno entered Jupiter's orbit in 2006. Its mission was to study its atmosphere, build a map of its winds, and also examine its gravitational and magnetic fields. Now don't forget about its magnetosphere. It was during Juno's entrance into this that they managed to record sounds. Sounds that sent goosebumps up and down my spine.
So far, we saw some of the strange signs that are taking place in the sky. Don't go anywhere. Let's meet after a short break. Welcome back to Science Lab. The signs are happening because Lord Jesus is coming. Before the break, we saw some of the strange signs that are taking place in the sky. Now let's continue. More than 4,700 asteroids are located dangerously close to the Earth. Our planet isn't an easy target for them. At any moment, one of these asteroids could cross for the Earth's orbit, and then mankind's most terrible catastrophe will become a reality.
But our civilization is threatened not only by a terrible collision, cosmic rays, solar flares, and even the explosion of other stars could destroy us instantly. Today, we are going to find out the myriad catastrophes really are just waiting to happen to our planet.
The Cretaceous Paleogene extinction event, during which 1/5 of the animal families were lost. The end Permian extinction, which scientists call the greatest disaster of all time. The Tunguska event destroyed all life within a radius of 30 kilometers or about 19 miles. And lastly, the impact of the Chelyabinsk meteor, due to which 1,615 people were injured. So tell me, what all these events have in common? Scientists believe that they were all caused by the fall of celestial bodies. Every year, people find new traces of these space bombs. The scale of the threat is so great that in 1998, NASA founded the Near-Earth Object Observations Program. But you won't be happy with the astronomers' conclusion. As of January 2020, 2,048 heavenly bodies made it into the list of potentially hazardous objects, and the list is constantly growing. First place of the list is occupied by the 1950 DA Near-Earth Asteroid. This is a huge conglomeration of stones with a diameter of approximately 1.3 km or 0.8 miles and a mass of almost 4 billion tons. If such an object collides with Earth, the impact force will exceed the explosive power of all existing weapons combined. But that's not even the scariest part. 1950 DA's orbit will at some point bring the asteroid quite close to the Earth. In the year 2032, it will come close to a distance of about 11.3 million kilometers. That's about 7 million miles. In the year 2187, 5.2 million kilometers or about 3.2 million miles. But then in the year 2880 AD, there is a 1 in 8300 chance that the asteroid will collide with our dear beloved planet. You're probably trying to decide what percentage that is. Meanwhile, scientists are already calculating the possible losses. Specialists at the University of California have created a simulation of the effects of the collision with 1950 DA, and the result of the study resembled the plot of the disaster movie. If we assume that the asteroid will fall into the Atlantic Ocean, this will trigger a wave within a height of about 122 meters or 400 feet. Imagine a 30-story building. Are you picturing it? So this wave would be even higher than that. And then, in just 2 hours, it would reach the east coast of the United States. Entire cities will literally be washed away and destroyed completely by the enormously powerful mass of water. After 8 hours away, for the height of 10 to 15 meters or 30 to 50 feet would reach the shores of Europe. Ireland would suffer the most. The waves reaching a height of 20 meters or 66 feet crashing onto its shores. It's hard to imagine that such a gloomy picture already threatens humanity in this millennium. Another dangerous object to consider is Apophis. In 2004, immediately after its discovery, this asteroid was assigned a danger level of 4 out of 10 on the Tornado scale. This means that astronomers calculated more than 1% probability of a catastrophic collision. In 2006, the threat level was reduced to 0, but the probability of Apophis falling into the Earth still remains. In 2029, it will come closer to our planet at a distance of just 31,000 kilometers or about 19,000 miles. This is so close that will be able to be seen with the naked eye. The expected distance from the Earth of Apophis is calculated with an error margin. Some may say that why do you afraid of these asteroids if the chance of them hitting the Earth is so extremely low? Yes, this applies to many of these chunks of stone from outer space, but not all of them. But let us move on from these cosmic snowballs and stones. Even the stars that give us warmth can do great harm to our civilization. If you look at the sun from the Earth, it may seem that this is a uniformly luminous disk. In fact, the release of hot plasma is constantly raging on the shimmering surface. At any moment, there could be a flash and a cloud of plasma with a magnetic field could launch towards our planet. Encountering the magnetic field of the Earth, these emissions create powerful geomagnetic storms. This happened in the year 1859. Telegraph networks failed to work for several years across Europe and North America. Auroras, which are usually seen only in high altitudes, this time could be seen even over Cuba. Can you imagine what kind of chaos there would be if this catastrophe recurs today? We would be for total disconnection of the internet and mobile communications around the world. The operators of nuclear power plants won't be able to control their reactors, and let's not forget magnetic storm that can also harm our health. It is very difficult to protect yourself from hazardous radiation unless you manage to hide yourself deep in an underground bunker. Other stars can deliver an even more dangerous blow. At the end of their lives, many of them experience a dramatic increase in brightness. This phenomenon is called supernova. When a flash is released, so is an incredible amount of radiation. In particular, gamma rays, which are harmful to all living organisms, there is an assumption that 450 million years ago, there was already such a gamma ray burst near the Earth. Under the influence of gamma rays, the ozone layer was reduced, and the planet turned into something like a huge tanning bed. Strong ultraviolet radiation tours onto the Earth. Unfortunately, getting such an attempt isn't too good for everyone. Approximately 85% of the species of all existing of the marine organisms were extinct. This event is known as science is the Ordovician-Silurian extinction event. Could a similar explosion be repeated these days? Most likely yes. Moreover, quite soon. Right now, at a distance of about 650 light-years from the space, star Betelgeuse is living out its last days. When an explosion occurs, it could shine brighter than the full moon in the night sky. Would you like to see such a beautiful glow with this powerful stream of hazardous radiation? True. Scientists reassure us radiation from a supernova explosion will take millions of years to reach our planet. But such cosmos threats are not lessening.
The possibility of asteroid attack reminds me a verse in the Bible. Then the third angel sounded, and a great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch, and it fell on a third of the rivers and on the spring of waters. The name of the star is Wormwood. A third of the water became wormwood, and many men died from the water because it was made bitter. Revelation chapter 8, verse 10 and 11.
All these show that what is mentioned in the Bible that are going to take place in the end times are taking place in our lifetime. We are living in the last days, and the Lord Jesus Christ is coming again very soon. Thank you for watching this episode. Do not forget to tune into the Science Lab next time.
But before we end the show, we would like to ask you a question from this episode. How many asteroids are located dangerously close to the Earth? Option A, 47 asteroids. Option B, 470 asteroids. And option C, 4700 asteroids.
And if you know the correct answer, send it to our email ID sciencelab@angeltv.org. If you have missed any of the episodes, do not worry, you can watch it again in our Science Lab YouTube page. But do not forget to share, like and comment on the video.
Ask your friends and relatives to watch the Science Lab so that they will know that we are living in the last days. Remember, signs are happening because Lord Jesus is coming. Maranatha.